Taft was like really cautious to play a Jace Memory Adept in one of the sideboard games because he didn't want to have like this counter war over it. And then like he finally drew a Dissipate and he's like, I feel good now. Like play it, and the guy's like, yeah, resolves. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, milieu. And then Jake ended up losing. That's actually his only loss right now was to Ross Merriam. So these players are gonna have to battle it out. No draws here to make top 8, gentlemen. And one of these players who does win is probably going to be our 1 seed on the tournament.
It's always brutal to be X1 in the last round and not be able to draw.
Yeah.
But with the new modified play draw rule, it's kind of, there's a payoff now. It's not just like, oh, I have to play another round if I lose out on top 8. It's like, I have to play another round if I lose out on top 8. But if I win, I get to play for the entire quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals.
Yeah, which is a big deal. As it looks like both players, they've kept around 7 cards here. Steven's going to play a Hallowed Fountain. You see Jake with looks to be a Watery Grave. He's covering it up a little bit, but not a big deal, as you're going to see a Sulphur Falls and pass the turn back, and it actually is an Overgrown Tomb that Taft has started this game out with. So this is the second time that we've seen Taft play against Blue White Red Control. He had some trouble with Merriam. He actually won game 1 via Garrick Primal Hunter, putting some Wolves into play, and then following that up with a Garrick Garrick Relentless was putting Wolves into play. Garrick Primal Hunter followed that up, as did a Tammy on the Moon Sage. That's what got him game 1 against Blue White Red Control.
Yeah, I mean, Planeswalkers, especially ones that protect themselves, super powerful effect. They create an entire subgame based around themselves, and I mean, that's all this deck is designed to do, really, is play Planeswalkers and protect them.
It's basically like a Super Friends deck, but it just has different Planeswalkers, as Jake does draw a Far and Away for the turn. You see Steven Spots kind of motioning towards that Far and Away in his hand, or excuse me, that War Leader's Helix, and he also has a Syncopate as well, so he's kind of ready for a Planeswalker right now.
Yep. As we talked about at length earlier today, the War Leader's Helix is quite good against Planeswalkers.
Yes.
Answers a lot of them very cleanly, which very few other cards can do, besides Counter Magic, but the Helix you can untap and then play the Helix.
Yeah.
Which is really, really helpful, especially in this matchup, obviously.
So Watery Grave's going to come into play. And are we going to see
He's got
maybe
a couple
tap
options because he has a think. He drew a Think Twice, so he can actually Think Twice and flash it back this turn. If he didn't draw that Think Twice, I have to assume that he would start firing this turn. But he can take a turn off, keep the opponent from maximizing his mana this turn. Because if the later you wait on your must counters, then they're using that mana to counter rather than Revelation or Restoration Angel or whatever. So you kind of want to wait as long as possible, but at the same time, with the advent of Aetherling into the format, you can no longer wait indefinitely. Like you have to pull the trigger at some point because Aetherling will beat you if you wait too long.
Yep.
So there's definitely a line, a tightrope to walk there.
You can only wait for so long. You can't just do nothing the entire time because, as you said, Aetherling will blow up your plants and it will do it in a hurry.
Yes. And now we see. I was going to say he's going to start going for it, but it looks like we're going to promo Farseek instead. Just build the mana up. This is another way to attack Counter Magic, is to try and build your mana up to the point where you can do 2 things in a turn and overload their Counter Magic, or rather, overload their mana. Because you can sort of tax their mana a lot more easily than you can tax their hand, especially because Steven Spots missed his last land drop. He missed his 6th land drop. So it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to cast 2 counterspells in the same turn if Jake Taft is able to get to the point where he can play 2 must-counter threats in the same turn.
Spots is going to come out here with a Snapcaster Mage. Just going to target that Searing Spear there. So he's going to take an aggressive approach. Spear's going to go upstairs.
I love that sort of just quick, small things like the Warp Physique. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say where he was reaching for his mana in response to the Snapcaster, just like representing a little counter magic, little subtle things like that, where Jake doesn't have counters in his deck, but he's able to represent them just fine.
Yeah, we're gonna see a main deck rev, a main phase
rev that he might have times differently had he had been able to see Jake Taft's deck list before the match. Because it's not like he was looking for a land drop, because he drew a land that turn. So now, the Sphinx's Revelation deck's biggest fear, Aetherland. Or the Aether Daddy, if you will.
Which I won't. That's a one of in Taft's deck list, actually. And he has it here and has 2 blue mana available. So he can get himself out of any trouble that he would possibly be in. And you saw that main phase revelation. Spots put the shields down, and Taft took advantage of it.
What's the worst they could do?
Yeah, in like the literal best way possible. Where before, you know, a deck like this, what's the worst they could do is cast Garruk, Primal Hunter.
And he has the Helix.
Yeah, he has the Warrior to kind of take care of that. And it's like, oh, I could beat a 3/3 Beast eventually. No big deal. Now things are much worse because Warrior's Helix doesn't do anything to Aetherland.
No, but really, what's the worst they could happen?
Yeah.
I get to draw 3 cards, I get to gain 3 life, and Aetherland. And now Steven Spots has that look that I've seen so many times from watching the Pro Tour coverage of, oh my god, he has an Aetherling and some blue mana. That what am I ever going to do?
Yeah, that's honestly how it feels. It reigns supreme over a battlefield, especially when it's by itself. I mean,
You don't even have to spend the mana.
no, you have to do anything. Just attack.
Yeah, you can just attack for like the straight 4 and keep following it up with threats so that you're taxing their mana. Again, they have to spend that mana using counter magic or removal for whatever you're following it up with, and they can't spend it trying to sculpt a game plan that can actually defeat the Aetherling. It's so much pressure and so much resilience in one package. I mean, we haven't seen a card like this in a long time. I mean, Moloku maybe is the last time we've seen an answer or a threat that was so difficult to answer.
Yeah, just being like a game-winning card.
Yeah, you just slam it when your opponent's tapped out, and it's like nigh impossible for them to win from that point.
Yeah. And we're going to see a Liliana of the Veil here in Taft's second main phase. Dissipate's going to clean that up. He's going to pass with all that mana available. And so now we're going to see Spots tap some mana. Might be War Leader's Helix time.
To the dome.
Yeah, and if you're Taft, you're like probably pretty happy about that, honestly, because now
that's your way to win.
Yeah, like now you're just trying to burn me out, and additionally, like now my Planeswalker can kind of run rampant because I don't have to worry about War Leader's Helix. And you see Spots draws and Sulfur Falls for the turn. Has an Essence Scatter over there, since Supreme Verdict, the Syncopate. So just a lot of cards that are just really poor right now. So he's going to pass the turn back. Taft's got on tap. He's going to draw. He finds an Abrupt Decay, which not going to do very much right now. But again, he can afford to have to run into some dead draws right now because he's resolved the one thing that does matter.
Yep. And that's what it comes down to is the whole focus on what matters thing. I mean, when Aetherling is involved, it seems that it's fairly regularly the only thing that matters. And here we go. Ooh, a Thragtusk. I was going to say Garruk. This is easy scatter. I mean, you're not even going to have that many targets for the scatter going forward.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of things from the scatter, as you said, moving forward. As we're going to see Spots. Looks like he's reaching time to cast the Think Twice, get a little deeper in his deck, see if he can find some way to get himself back into this.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an Aetherling of his own, theoretically. So if you get an Aetherling of your own, and then a couple of tempo gainers, such as Turn and Burn, Azorius Charm, etc., to sort of buy an attack off of the Aetherling. That's like pretty much the only way I've ever seen an Aetherling beat. Is like either the opponent's already, or the Aetherling player is already dead on board, or the other player gets their own Aetherling in play and has more tempo gainers.
And so now you see the Sulfur Falls come in, and Spots is drawing a Tamio the Moonsage, which, you know, it's kind of ironic that Tamio the Moonsage is going to not be able to save you from a singular creature. But
that's what it does best.
Yeah, but here we are in this reality.
I mean, it's literally. And I was going to say it's buying an attack, but it's not even doing that. You don't even have to kill the Tamio.
Yeah, you just ignore it,
Yeah.
Now Tamio's going to move up. We'll see what he's going to target. You see Taft separating the lands.
I was going to say, he's got to tax the blue.
Yeah.
So that now you're kind of priced into killing the Tamio because, like, you only have 2 other blue sources. The Tamio taps another blue source. It's pretty easy for the blue-white-red control deck to have 2 answers. It's pretty hard for them to have 3.
Yes. Have 3 answers and have enough mana to cast them all.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that now Tamio tapping down the blue, and he drew an untapped blue land in the form of Hinterland Harbor for the turn. So that's also huge. With that draw, you might be, once again, unpriced into killing the Tamio and just go to the dome here.
I mean, if I'm Taft, I'm just going to ignore Tamio, honestly, because it's not having an impact on this game, and I want to shorten the clock. I can get this game over in 2 turns.
Yeah.
Actual 2.
Looks like he is going to take an attack off to go for that Tamio. Steven Spots is actually going to try and save his Tamio here, which...
I think he's going to cast Turn.
Yep. maybe he's crossing his fingers, hoping he doesn't know how, or his opponent doesn't know how that works. But there you go.
He's gonna blink that out, and do you windmill slam Garrett here? It'll leave you with 1 blue mana left.
I don't think so, especially with Tamiyo in play. So you can go like Tamiyo, your blue, you tap it to blink out your thing, and then like another turn burn can kill it.
Sure. Looks like he's going to take the risk, so he's going to leave a blue mana available. I understand like where you're coming from, where it's definitely a risky proposition. I guess Taft's thought here is, if you are able to actually kill this, I have a Garrick at least.
Yeah,
and that's not so bad.
SCGBALT's already used his Helix to try and create a potential for a racing situation, so your Garrick's a little safer there also. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. He's already used the turn burn to prevent the Aetherling from killing the Tamiyo. Like, how many relevant resources can he really have left at this point?
Sure.
And frankly, he doesn't have time to Revelation into that sort of thing, because once you untap with a Garrick and an Aetherling, you get to draw like 8 cards, still have the Garrick and the Beast and the Aetherling with all the blue. Like, it doesn't matter how many cards you draw and life you gain from a Revelation at that point. It just, the game is already over. So Tamiyo going to buy a turn off of the Aetherling, since SCGBALT does not have the answer to the instant speed answer, I should say, to the Aetherling after using the turn burn. Ghost Quarter on the Watery Grave is going to float a blue and then search up an island. Ooh, does not have basics.
Yeah, so that's a little bit disconcerting. He's going to search, he's going to shuffle, make it look like maybe he has basics, or just wants to look through his deck to see what he does have. You see Taft flashing a little smile there on the screen. So Ghost Quarter is actually pretty good against Taft. That's some, small but important information for spots moving forward.
Yeah,
but again,
absolutely.
We know that blue mana is floating, and he's going to blink this guy out so it doesn't die to a card like Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, I mean, and Steven's just trying to create these situations where he can maybe confuse Jake, get him to miss something or mess something up. And that's his. Ooh, whoa.
Close.
And that was almost exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that was close.
What's the ruling there? Is it like an obstinate ruling where it just happens?
Where it just comes back? Yeah, I think it's the exact same ruling.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's basically the same effect, so
yeah.
I would imagine it would be the same.
Here comes Aetherling, the Beast token, going to take down Tamiyo. You see Taft has a Jace in his hand, Jace Architect of Thought that he's considering casting. He does tap the 4 mana. Here comes Jace Architect of Thought. See if that's going to buy the Syncopate or not. Kind of funny, this thing that Spots can do is he can Syncopate for 4. Instead of for 5, and say, hey man, you can pay if you want. Which I would actually love, because it actually gives Taft the opportunity to make a mistake if you're Spots and you're just going, you can pay. Now Jace.
Oh no, I didn't syncopate for enough.
Yeah.
Oh, stupid me.
And then he gets the Supreme Verdict away the Aetherling, but then he would be facing down a Jace Architect of Thought and a Garrick Primal Hunter, so he still might be
losing.
Yeah, he's still probably in a bad situation.
I mean, he did draw his own Aetherling here, it looks like. But, like, it's too late. Not only is he behind the Garrick, but, like, he's already expended all of his resources, so he doesn't have the tempo gainers to get ahead in the Aetherling race, which is what he needs. I mean, he's going to cast Aetherling here with his last card being Supreme Verdict. Yeah. Not exactly the tempo gainer you need. I mean, theoretically, he could maybe draw, like, a Rev and kill the Garrick. I don't know. Even at that point, like, I think Garrick's drawing cards this turn, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it might be draw card time, but it could also just be, pump up the jam, put another wolf out there. As Taft does draw, I think, twice, because he's getting to Garrick ultimate level, which isn't like a big deal, but it's like kind of a thing.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
if that's worth anything.
Style points.
Yeah,
are the best kind of points. So Taft's going to go figure out what he wants to do this turn. You see him kind of reaching for the creatures already here.
Can't block, might as well attack.
Yeah, and I would make that unblockable. There we go. So I'm going to get in front of a Beast token. This is an attack for 7, so this does put us on a 2-turn clock still. If you're Taft, it looks like he is perfectly fine with that. He's going to lose the Beast. 7 going to come across. Going to put Spots down to 7. It's time to draw some. Far and Away, Breeding Pool, Drowned Catacomb, and Overgrown Tomb.
Not the best, but I mean, he's got a couple far and aways. That's more than enough to win this game. I mean, even if this game were closer, he has the tempo gainers and his opponent doesn't in the Aetherling matchup. He even has the Thrag Tusk, which is like another, half of an attack and another threat.
Yep, had that left a little bit. So Spots is going to untap with just that Supreme Verdict in his hand. He's going to take a draw step. It's
A trick bind? Unbelievable!
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oddly enough, it is not a trick bind. I was not able to make it. I think I have a feeling a Snapcaster Mage as he's taking a look at the graveyard here.
You got to read on him.
Yeah.
Wow, you must be pro.
Yeah, I've honed my game over these years. Taking a second look, now it's for sure a Snapcaster Mage. I only know that because I do that whenever I draw a card like that or Eternal Witness.
What's in my yard again? It's like the guy that, like, the Jun player or whatever that draws his card for the turn. He's just like, how many cards in hand? You're like, yeah, nice Rakdos return, dude.
Yeah.
Keeps going.
Happens all the time. Or nice Blightning.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any cards. I'm just going to cast Blightning anyway. It's too good.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see Aetherling come across for Spots.
I think he might try and let it block. Let Thragtusk block so he can Wrath? No, unblockable.
I think he said he's going to attack Garrick too. Not positive. You know, Taft has access to the away half of Far and Away. I mean, he has access to both
the away
halves, honestly. Yeah. But again, I don't think he makes a move here. I don't think he needs to.
No, I agree. And I mean, that's what he does. He's like, all right, any effects? No, all right. Pass priority back. Take 4.
I'm gonna put Taft down to 11. Snapcaster Mage isn't the worst draw in the world, just because simply because Warlord Helix is in the graveyard.
Yeah, you blink Aetherling, Wrath, and then I guess you don't have enough to Helix anymore, so it's like Snapcaster maybe and Azorius Charm buried in there, something like that.
Gonna blink out the Aetherling. That goes away.
The Beast is dead, but then immediately gets replaced by the Thragtusk trigger.
Yep. So in comes the Beast token. Garrick's still standing tall out there as well. You see Spots taking a look at that graveyard one more time, figuring out what he wants to do with Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, it doesn't actually look like he has anything here. I couldn't remember if there was like an Aetherling or an Azorius Charm cast earlier, but it doesn't look like there was. And I have a feeling he's going to be taking his medicine on the chin this turn.
Yeah, I think Taft can finish him off this turn because he does have those 2 far and aways. He can just use like the bounce mode, to pick that up, or he can just use the away mode. I mean, either one is fine.
Yeah, I mean, this theoretically could be, you could throw the Snapcaster in the way of the Edict, but he has another one, so it's like, it doesn't matter at all.
Yep. And that's what he's going to do. There's your Snapcaster Mage.
Does he have a reasonable target?
Trigger's fine. Turn and burn.
I guess you have to burn to prevent Aetherling from representing lethal.
Yeah, because it makes it a 3, 4, 5, 5/3
on its own.
Oh, sure. Okay, I got you.
Because he doesn't know about the other far and away.
Yeah.
Also, the decay.
Yeah.
For the Snapcaster works just the same. The Edict's gonna go off here, or he blinks.
Yeah.
Dies either way.
Yeah, doesn't want it to die. I mean, but obviously Taft's just trying to clear a path. He says, "All right, attack you for."
All right, so Deadsies. The technical term is Deadsies.
Oh, okay.
And there we go.
Deadsies it is. So Jake Taft is going to be up a game here against Steven Spots. Bug Walker's up 1 against Blair Red Control. We saw this in Taft's match against Ross Merriam. He was up a game, but Merriam was able to come back and win the next 2. Mostly because he had a very nice sideboard for this match. And we take a look at Spots', and he's not doing too bad himself. He's got a Dispel, 1 copy of Outwit, 2 clones, and Assemble the Legion, the Tension Sphere, Oblivion Ring, Negate, Devil's Play, Jace Memory Adept, Electrickery, Pillar of Flame, Terminus, Rest in Peace, and Pithing Needle. For those of you wondering at home, that's a lot of 1-ofs.
I was going to say, is this Gabriel Nassif's sideboard? He's got 1 2-of? And all 1-ofs after that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got.
Well, then Nassif didn't make it. There's a 2-of. You can tell right there. See, it's the clone.
Oh, I understand.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I see what you're saying.
In Jake Geist of St. Taft's sideboard, he's got the Black Primordial, kind of techy, another Garrick Relentless, A couple more Jaces, except this one is the 5 mana Jace Memory Adept. Some Deathrite Shamans and Cremates. Doesn't like graveyards, apparently. Gaze of the Granite for the aggro decks, not for this matchup.
Mostly for Bad Hexproof.
Pithing Needle, maybe for the opposing Aetherling, potentially. And then the really techie sweet card, Notion Thief.
Yes. Talking to Jake in between rounds when I was on my break last round, he was just saying, I just want to Notion Thief someone. That's all I want to do.
Well, this
I haven't
is his
gotten
chance.
to.
This
Yep.
is his chance. The Sphinx Revelation deck, quite, historically likes to draw a lot of cards.
We'll see if he's ever able to actually get to do that. That's the big question. So I think that game one actually in this matchup is something that favors Taft because the blue-eye red deck just has enough dead cards. It's not like a high density of dead cards, but it's enough dead cards that he can end up drawing a bunch of them. I mean, you saw that Essence Scatter was pretty dead for a while there, especially when you had so many planeswalkers.
Even the Helix wasn't that great, and it would have been good had the game been different, but since he was basically, he was playing around counter magic by main phasing the Sphinx Revelation, which Taft doesn't have, and we were talking about that exact advantage. You don't get that once you top 8 an exchange deck list, but in the Swiss, they don't know your list. You have blue mana and things like Snapcaster Mage, you have things that make it look, and you keep passing with all his mana up. I mean, how do you not identify that as representing counter magic on the opposite side of the table? That reeks of counter magic.
Especially the way he was playing his hand too.
Yeah.
Just like land, go, think twice, flash it back, go.
Yeah.
It really is just like, oh, he's got some sort of counter magic.
Yeah,
I don't
it felt
know what.
so much like counter magic. So SCGBALT got him tapped low or whatever from the Farseek turn where he played. What was it, a Thrag Tusk that got scattered?
Yeah. That was a little bit later, but he had tapped low enough that it was reasonable
I don't remember
for him
that.
to.
I don't remember what it was that got him tapped low. It was it might have been a Liliana or something.
Yeah.
But it was he tapped low enough that SCGBALT was like, okay, he can't have counter magic now, and drew his 6th land, played it untapped and revved for 3. What's the worst that could happen? And the answer was Aetherling, and the game was pretty much over from there.
Yep.
SCGBALT tried to, create some situations where either he could draw runner, and maybe get into this Helix endgame where he can burn him out before the Aetherling kills him, or just do a lot of things, make complicated game states and really deep stacks, make this stack complicated,
Sure.
and sort of just hope that at some point Jake missteps or misunderstands an interaction and he can sort of mise a free Aetherling kill. None of those worked out. Jake knew how to protect his Aetherling and takes down game 1 on the back of the Dragon's Maze Shapeshifter.
Yeah. The way to manage an Aetherling, it varies from game to game, but unsurprisingly we saw Taft do basically nothing with it. There's no reason to make this move for I'm gonna get you for 8, anything when the opponent just has nothing. He can just stay steady. He'd like to shorten the game as best he can, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get unwieldy with his Aetherling and then lose it, because again, he only has 1 in his deck to work with.
Yeah, and he was actually tight on blue mana for a while too, which was a factor, and much better than just pumping all the mana into your Aetherling and maybe letting your opponent buy a whole bunch of time and mana with a Tempo Gator like Azorius Charm or Burn Turn or whatever. He'd rather just play more must-counter threats or must-deal with threats and tax SCGBALT's mana so that he can't use that mana using Revelation to sort of scope the game a hand where maybe he can create a game state where he can deal with Aetherling or race it. Instead, he has to use all of his cards countering and killing Garrix and Thrag Tusks and all that, and he never had an opportunity to try and sculpt any sort of a hand.
We'll see Spots take at least 1 mulligan here. Taft is pretty happy with his 7 thus far. So we'll see, again, in a matchup like this, if you're Steven Spots, you just want to hit land drops.
Yeah.
He's not boarding into any more lands like Ross Merriam was, where Ross had 2 in his sideboard to go along with 26 main deck. But he's taking a mulligan here, looking for cards like Think Twice and Warrior's Charm to cycle lands, just so he can keep hitting all of his land drops, and then actually get deep into that mid to late game. He can cast multiple spells a turn, and then win fights over counter magic. But the other thing that he's kind of looking for too is he does not want to lose to just like an early Planeswalker getting resolved, and then having to take a role which he doesn't want to take, which is being the aggressor.
Absolutely, and the sort of counterspell configuration that these decks have, Planeswalkers are not often a consideration anymore. You don't have the negates. Most of those are moved to dispels because what matters are the revelations or the counters on more iffy. The Planeswalkers have kind of fallen out of favor, and Jund is playing Siren Insanity instead of Echoes for the turn. You don't really have many negate targets anymore, so we see only one, I believe, in Steven Spot's sideboard, when that's probably the best card you could possibly have against Jake Taft's deck.
So we see a Farseek here from Taft. You see a Glacial Fortress there from Spots. He's going to untap. He's going to draw. See Desolate Lighthouse, Sulphur Falls. There's a Clifftop Retreat. So yeah, he's got this draw, the Buddy Land draw.
Yeah. At least he was on the play, so he's going second instead of third.
Yeah. Here's a Snapcaster Mage. You're going to target
Solemn
Farseek.
Simulacrum.
Yeah, doing its best impersonation. Doesn't draw a card when it dies, but you can't have everything.
Yeah, I think that's worth it. I think we can forgive that for the flexibility that Snapcaster gives instead.
You have your opinion, I have mine.
So now we see that explosive mana draw, putting Jake actually up a land on Steven Spots, who, has the advantage of the play and is still down a mana on his turn and down 2 on his opponent's.
Spots did find a Hollow Fountain. He's going to play Desolate Lighthouse the best turn back, threaten to draw and discard, get a little deeper into his deck. The rest of his lands are going to come and play untap moving forward. There's going to fight a Drown Yard.
Tick-tock! Tick-tock!
Here comes Snapcaster Mage for 2. Hey, you got to get that party started at some point. Stop Notion Thief.
Oh, daddy. Notion Thief. I'm going to draw a card and you discard a card. Notion Thief. If every card for every card that you would draw besides your draw step, your draw for the turn, instead, the Notion Thief player draws a card. But that only stops the draw effect of the Lighthouse. The discard effect of the loot effect of the Lighthouse, that still falls on Steven.
This hardly seems fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a minor advantage as Hollow Fountain's going to come into play, but every time it does anything, it feels disgusting.
I mean, it's like a pretty awesome, 3-for-1.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't ask much more from your cards. Like, I draw a card, you discard a card, and I still have this 3-1 threat that not only is a 3-1, but you can't draw more cards until you kill this.
Yes.
You, no Think Twices, no Revelations, none of that. And
it's actually like a nice clock too.
Yeah, 3. In addition to the Snapcaster damage, that's a fortune clock on its own. And now we see Garrick. The Garrick versus Assemble the Legion matchup seems a little lopsided.
Hey, both 5-mana spells. Both create creatures. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And we see a bunch of lands, and Ghost Quarter getting that Drown Yard out of the way. A bunch of lands and a Sphinx's Revelation for Steven Spots. No answer to the Notion Thief as of yet. So,
hey, this is what Taft wanted. He told me when I was on my break, he's like, I just want to get someone with Notion Thief.
And he did.
That's what he said. I don't know if he said he wanted to do it on camera, but he told me, I just want to get somebody with Notion Thief today. And here he is doing that. Now, the sad thing is that Notion Thief's going to have to slow his roll a little bit because of that red-white soldier token. But we'll have a Beast and Snapcaster Mage come in. That's for rootin' tootin'. And we're going to see a trade here between those two. Beast token will come across. And might see Garrett pump out another Beast here in a moment.
He's also got like a Thragtusk in hand. I don't know what else is in his hand, but I gotta imagine that's a pretty nice turn.
Yeah,
Thragtusk make another Garrett.
2 Thragtusk and another Notion Thief. Alright, so he's going to pump out a Beast, and he's going to cast that Thragtusk. He's basically saying, Steven, you need to have a counter spell or something right now to be able to deal with this.
You need to kill a Wrath. It's like your only way.
Because you're Assemble the Legion. I'm not scared of that. You do get 2 guys. You can chump block for like a really long time, actually.
Theoretically indefinitely, but that assumes that Jake doesn't have cards or like draws more off of his Garrick, you know.
You see Spots' hand again, all lands in the Sphinx Revelation. In about 90% of games, that's a pretty good hand.
Yeah. That's enough to win pretty much against anything, except for Notion Thief. Here we see double chumps taking 3. We get another Thragtusk and another Beast, or 5 cards.
I wonder if we're supposed to get not. I was thinking that maybe we're supposed to get into the Notion Thief that turn, but that can't be right.
No.
No.
Too valuable.
Yeah.
Like maybe next turn.
It's honestly just colding this, this Revelation. I think Jake Taft knows that Steven has in his hand. I think his thought right now.
I mean, what else could he have?
Yeah, what else could you have that you're not casting?
Yeah.
As Garrett's going to go up to 6, he's going to pass the turn back. And suddenly just going to tick up to 3. Here come 3 more red and white soldier tokens. But these things like to be on offense, not on defense. As here's an Azorius Charm, which actually might be a pretty good draw right now.
It's not bad. Buys a turn or buys a token worth. You know. Looks like Jake's actually going to run out. I was going to say run out his other Notion Thief.
I thought he was
pressure.
as well.
Yeah. Looks like he's rather a Farseek draw a card off of Think Twice. I mean, that's a fine turn. And now, more Thragtusk and Garrett's.
Yeah.
So you pretty much know that you're not facing down a Wrath. So do you ultimate and then play your other Garrett here?
I kind of want to, yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, it's sweet.
You're going to see some blocks here. You're going to see a Azorius Charm take care of a token.
Yeah, so he's not taking any damage this turn. Well, life damage.
Yeah.
He's still taking, emotional damage.
Yeah. And he's gonna pump it up, so maybe he's gonna ultimate next turn. I think you add a Thragtusk to the table.
Ooh,
yeah, see, I don't like that. I want to keep adding stuff to the table.
You're now in a situation where the Assemble can actually start to take over.
Yeah. I want to press my advantage. As you see, Spots is just drawing more lands to go in that Revelation that he cannot cast. He can't even afford to cast that as Stream of Life because it's going to give Taft all these cards. But yeah, back to that Thragtusk turn. I just want to cast Thragtusk because what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Is like you need to overwhelm this Assemble Legion before it actually overwhelms you. Because I mean, we're making the joke of how Garrick is probably better than Assemble Legion, but Assemble Legion lets them.
That's only when they come down.
Days.
That's only true when they come down on the same turn.
Yeah.
As the game goes longer, Garrick still does the same thing, but Assemble gets incrementally better. And is this no? Still just waiting it out. Draw a card with Think Twice. Not quite sure what he's looking for here.
Yeah, that's a big question, right? Like if you're flashing back Think Twice, then what are you flashing it back for? What are you looking for?
What's better than using that 3 mana, investing that 3 mana instead into a Thragtusk?
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm not sure at this point. So you probably just send with your 3 toughness guys and ultimate Garrick, right? I don't know what else you can do. I mean, he's got another Garrick stuck in his hand. That's why I kind of want to ultimate last turn if you're going to ultimate.
Yeah.
So you can ultimate and then play another Garrick and plus it, and then even if he Wrath, then you still have your Garrick on 4.
Yep. We're going to see Tamio this turn. Seems like he might tap a guy, get in with all of his creatures. 1, 2, so 3 guys get blocked. Yeah, so he's gonna take the risk here.
Yeah, that seems like that's what he's got to do, right? Just sort of price himself into it, and no Notion Thief attacks still.
So he's gonna block Thragtusk and 2 Beast tokens. He's really just taking a very conservative approach, and again, like right now, I think he has no choice. I think he has to ultimate this and not Beast token. Yeah, and I don't like that. There's absolutely no excuse for Beast token now.
Yeah.
If Garrett's not gonna die, there's no excuse for not making, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 guys and overwhelming this. That play is like almost certainly wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with the backup Garrick in hand and like the game coming pretty close to actually like slipping out of your grasp.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to on one of these past like 3 turns, you have to either cast a guy or ultimate Garrick or draw cards and cast. Like you have to do something. It's no longer okay to just make a guy and attack.
Yeah.
Because the Assemble Legion tokens are starting to outnumber your creatures, and once that happens, all your guys can get chumped. It becomes a lot harder to kill your opponent.
Even like if you have a backup Notion Thief, it makes it so it's okay to attack with that as well.
Yeah. Even if he spends a token.
And he's reaching for it. Okay, so he's reaching for it this time. There we go.
And it is enough, I feel. The Steven Spots is going to have to Revelation as Stream of Life, Prosperity U.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the most painful Sphinx Revelations I've ever seen cast
against the
in my entire life.
Notion Thief. This is a beautiful thing, my friend. This is Magic the Gathering.
This is... Wow, this is painful.
So he's revving for the full 5, it looks like. All right, yeah, man, you go to 7.
I'll take these 5 cards, thanks. Pithing Needle, think twice. Jace, think twice, and Snapcaster Mage with the draws.
And he's got the Snapcaster for, I guess, I'm trying to think of like what his sequence is from here. Like the Jace is okay.
Dust is going to clear here. And again, he just needs to clean up the board.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's going to put the tap on there. Yeah, he's good. He needs to just keep adding to the board, and he is going to ultimate now, it looks like. Yeah, okay, so he's going to ultimate this turn. You need to force your opponent to draw Supreme Verdict. That's all you need to do. Here comes the Pithing Needle. Not sure what this is going to name. We'll get clarification on the name of this in just a moment. You know, I'm guessing Aetherling, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, now he's just deploying everything, forcing his opponent to have a verdict. And if Spots does have a verdict, he's going to lose because of the Thraktos tokens that are left behind. He's going to discard 2 copies to think twice and pass the turn back. So Taft has put himself in a very, very nice position. More Assemble tokens are going to come into play. It's going to be 6 of them. But again, you see the 8 Worm tokens, you see the Beast tokens, multiple copies of Thragtusk. He's basically cut all of Spots' outs, and Spots draws a Steam Vents to go with the Syncopate. Taft named Aetherling with that Pithing Needle.
Lighthouse does not work. He's like, oh, I got one more draw. Nope. Oh, yeah, all right, he is.
Yeah, Lighthouse works. Notion Thief's gone.
The Needle didn't name...
It named Aetherling.
Oh, I don't know why he didn't name Lighthouse. Yeah. Aetherling is not scary here at all.
Yeah.
The card that he could have that doesn't do anything, or the card that he does have that might do something.
Yeah.
But
2 counterspells are shown. Dissipate, Syncopate. That's a win for Jake Taft. He's moving on to our top 8 today.
His deck is so sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely sweet.
That Notion Thief was awesome. Just super backbreaking.
Yeah. Steven Spots with a very nice tournament. It's going to be 8-2, going to place in the top 16, going to cash the tournament, but he will not be playing in our elimination rounds today. That belongs to Jake Taft.